Hello, welcome back to Awakening with Soulspirational. I'm Tish, and if you've been watching the episodes lately, I'm sure you've noticed that we've been taping during Soulful Sundays. Well, I thought I would give the group a little bit of break from the camera and go back to a one-on-one video. So one of the things that we do during our different groups here is we'll work on tarot and or psychic development. So when we're doing this, it really, to me, developing our psychic senses, our intuition, it truly, for me, is about self-empowerment, going within. So when we come in for tarot, we really work with the cards in an intuitive fashion. If somebody really wants to pull out their booklet, they're more than welcome to do so. But I really encourage people to feel into the card that is in front of them. So in this episode today, I want to talk a little bit about the differences between tarot cards and oracle cards. It's one of the most frequent questions that I get. I'm not going to go through the whole history here, but I want to give you a basic comparison. So when we're talking about tarot cards, typically in a tarot deck, they're going to be 78 cards. They're going to be made up of major and minor arcana. So when we're looking at the major arcana, we have 22 cards. In the minor arcana, we're looking at 56 cards. And within those 56 cards, there are going to be 4 suits. So we have the cups, the pentacles or the coins, we have the wands, and we have the swords. Each one of the suits represents something different. Within the suits, typically you have ace through 10, and then you have your court cards, the page, the knight, the queen, the king. When we're looking at the major and the minor within the tarot deck structure, you can look at the major arcana as major life events or changes that are coming up or that the client may be in the midst of. And then we're looking at the minor arcana. That represents more of the mundane, the day-to-day stuff in life. Maybe even more detail of some aspects that you may be going through. So to summarize, the tarot cards, 78 cards per deck, split between the major and the minor arcana. And again, the minor has the suit cards. When we look at oracle cards, there is no set number for an oracle deck. Typically, oracle decks are more themed, although some are still loosely based on the original tarot. And for example, I've got a couple here. So I have my romance oracle deck. So all the cards in here are themed around romance. I also have a deck of life purpose cards. So a bunch of different cards, different thoughts, ideas, things where we could be, whether it's writing or working with children, etc. There are some, and it really depends on, I think, where or how you were raised. Some people may have been raised that tarot cards are dark, that they are, or negative, shall I say, in nature. So some will choose to work with Oracle because they just feel more comfortable working with the Oracle decks. Oracle decks also tend to be, they do tend to be more lighthearted in nature. And oftentimes you can find unicorns in the tarot decks as well, but typically it's just more lighthearted. Not always, but typically speaking with Oracle. So some will feel more comfortable working with those as opposed to the tarot. With tarot, there are a few cards within the deck that tend to make people uncomfortable. So one of them is the Death card. Another, for example, is the Hanged Man. That just by hearing death, we automatically perceive that it means that there's going to be a death. And that really isn't what the death card represents. It could. Whenever we are working with our decks, we're placing the intention within them. If my intention of my tarot deck is that when I come across the death card that it means that there will be a death, then I'm more likely to pick that if a death is upcoming. But I don't state the intention of that in the deck. And again, for the death card, any of us that have lived long enough knows that we have experienced a lot of endings to things. Maybe an end of a job, end of a career, going into a completely different career, end of relationships, be that friendships or more intimate relationships. It's times like that where the death card may come up. It's simply showing us that there's an end to something. And the beautiful thing about experiencing the end, I mean, sometimes we welcome the end of a particular job or a career, even in particular relationships that we've been finding it maybe really difficult to get out of. So it can actually sometimes make us feel better to see the death card because we know that finally it's coming to an end. Likewise, when we are looking at the Hanged Man card, because of the words, people automatically get uncomfortable with it. If we were to look at the Hanged Man card, you would see that the gentleman it's typically depicted with a man hanging upside down by his ankle or by his foot somehow, with the other foot coming across. For me, when I see that card, depending on the question that's being posed to me, depending on the layout of the cards, typically when I see that, the first thing I think of is gaining a new perspective. So if we were to, if you're sitting on your sofa or sitting on your couch, if you were to turn around and place your feet over, the backside, and then place your head down by the floor and look around, so you're in essence upside down, you have just gained a different perspective in the room in which you're sitting, your family room, your den, whatever it may be. So the first thing that I think of, again, depending on the particular spread, is a different perspective. It's time to gain a different perspective, or maybe a new perspective it came into being recently for us. Now, it represents other things as well, but I wanted to share that with you for those of you that may be kind of concerned about working with tarot. Some feel as though tarot and or oracle decks, again, are negative in nature. And I would argue that we can make anything negative if we choose to. If we aren't using them for negative purposes, if we're using them for divinatory purposes, then to me that's a wonderful thing. And in fact, when we take the time to feel into a card for ourselves, when we take that time, we can actually gain a lot of insight. They are tools. They are tools, if we choose to use them to go inward, to listen to our own divine voice, to bring us more clarity or to bring us answers. Because all the answers that we seek, those questions that we have, if we turn inward, we can find those answers. Most of the time, however, we don't stop long enough to stop and still or quiet the body and the mind. Therefore, we're not going inside. We're not getting the answers. When you use tarot as a tool, then you have a better opportunity, if you follow certain steps, to go inside to get that answer. So I have a psychic development Facebook page. And oftentimes what I'll do is I will place a card backside for the group to feel into. Because really it's a psychic development page. So it's about bringing people inward so they can get in more contact with themselves, so they can open up to their senses. So when I'm doing a reading, and here's a couple tips for those of you watching that use tarot cards at home. So first, we always want to cleanse our deck. One of the first things that I'll do, if you've been watching the show, or if you saw episode 2, or if you watch any of my YouTube videos, do the connecting and grounding meditation, I always start it where I imagine a beautiful light above me. I imagine my crown chakra open, or the top center of my head is being opened. And I see that divine light coming straight into my crown chakra, straight through my head and neck. Sometimes I bring it down into my heart, but otherwise it's my neck, across my shoulders, down my arms, into my palms. And I allow that light to just run through me. Because when I'm doing this, I'm making a direct connection for me with that God light, that God space running through me. I am intentionally connecting with God. So I feel that divine light flow through me and out through my palms. When I feel or intend or intuit that I can imagine that light between my hands. And if you saw my subtle energy episode, where I kind of show you how to use, feel the energy within your hands. So if you use that same premise, you see that divine light coming down across your shoulders, down your arms, into your palms. Then what I do, I like to see where I'm holding the deck, where there's a space in between. Hold it with one hand, and then I use, for me personally, my right hand, and I imagine that this divine light is just going through my deck and cleansing out, and I'm stating the intention, I'm cleansing any energy that was left over from the previous reading. So as I imagine that light going through, then what I'll do is I'll give the cards a knock, and I imagine that energy just going right out of the deck. And again, I'm cleansing and I'm knocking. Sometimes I'll shuffle them a little bit, and then I'll do another cleanse and another knock. So once you're comfortable that your deck is cleansed, and why do we do this? If I just gave myself a reading and then somebody comes in for a reading and I haven't cleansed it, the cards that I turn over very well may be for me and not for them, or a mix, because I still have my energy in the cards. So if I cleanse them, then I know that they're ready to go for my client. So when going back to the Facebook page, what I'll do is I'll set the intention as I'm shuffling the deck to come up with a card that is most beneficial to one or more people that could really use it right now within the group. And then I'll continue to shuffle until it feels right. And then I'll simply pull over a card. And then I will take a picture of the front and the back side and the front of the card. So, and one day I'll give them the back side and I'll ask for people to feel into it. What does that mean, to feel into the card? It means that you are setting your focus on this card. And one of the things that I do as well is I will direct the group to take a couple of moments just to take a nice deep inhale in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. And as we exhale, we're just simply releasing any stress or tension. We are taking a moment to quiet and still the mind and the body. When you've taken those deep breaths, then you can see that divine light coming through down your arms. And then you can take a moment to feel into the card. You're going to just focus your attention on the back side of this card. Now, some people I'll direct where what you can do is place your palm over the card. So they'll see it on their computer screen. And then they can just place it, whether they're on their smartphones or whether it's on their computer screen. And you can just place your palm right over the card and feel into it. So by feeling into it, you're opening yourself up to any mental images, any audible images. You can even scan your body to notice where you were feeling the energy of this card. Again, seeing the back side of it, not even knowing what the picture is on the other side. when we are feeling the energy of the card within a particular part of the body, we stop and can ask, what is this feeling? Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? And then you can go deeper with it. I really like to take people below the surface because that's where most of the answers, you're going to find most of the answers. So go deeper into it. If it is a pleasant feeling, is there something reminiscent about that pleasant feeling? If it feels unpleasant, what is reminiscent about the unpleasant feeling? Is it taking you to a different time in life or a certain set of circumstances, something that may be going on right now? And then I ask people, they can even imagine that you're just looking straight through the backside of this card to see what's on the face of it. If they can get hints of an actual visual of what's on the front side. People sometimes, oftentimes actually, are picking up different colors within the card, different symbolisms within the card. So there's so much that just by taking the time to stop and be still, just to focus in. And here's the wonderful thing. Whatever message you receive by feeling through the card is the message that you were supposed to get right now today. Really, it doesn't matter what's on the other side of the card. When you take the time to stop, breathe, relax, feel into, you're feeling into you. You're feeling into your higher self, into that beautiful God space that runs through you. You will get whatever message or messages that you're meant to get right now today. Now, if you are interested in doing this just for visual to really hone your clairvoyance, then on the next day what I do is I will show the other side of the card. So now you may have already been, while I was doing this holding up the card, maybe you were feeling into the card, taking note. Well, now you can see what's on the face of this card, which is the 10 of Wands. And by looking at the card, again, you can feel into the energy. If you're familiar with numerology, the number in itself may give you some idea of its meaning. You can look at the image that's on the card. Is this representative of what you were getting? And again, even if it wasn't, you still took time to get messages for you. But if you want to compare it to what you felt or what you saw, what you heard, then you look at the front side. Were you picking up on the colors? Were you picking up on the energy of this card? What does this card mean to you? Now, another thing is by looking at this card, any card, when we are going through our own reading, if this was the first card I picked up, I'm going to be looking for the symbolism of this card. Now, what I see first may be different than what you see first. So I'm just going to ask, why are you, to write down, what do you see first? What do you see second? What does the symbolism, what are the meanings of each thing that you see? So maybe you saw the Roman numeral 10 first. Did you see it as the number 10? Did you see it as an X? What does that mean for you? Did you see the wands first? Or did you see the background first? What does that represent for you? So again, when we are feeling into a card, there's a reason why we are getting the messages that we are. There's a reason why those particular symbols jump out to us. And you may find, maybe you own the same tarot deck. The more you work with tarot, you may find that, today, you've pulled this card, this is what it means to you today. 3 months from now, you could pull the same card and it has a different meaning for you. Because you could be in a very different state of mind at that point. different events may be going on that now this means something different. But again, to me, what's really important is that we're taking the time to go inside. Now, you could say, well, can I just meditate? Yes, absolutely. You absolutely can meditate, go inside, and get those answers. However, there are so many people that for one reason or another, they don't meditate. And oftentimes they say, I just can't be still long enough. And that, we'll have another show on that sometime. But with this, just by taking a couple nice deep inhales and exhales, allowing your body to just relax, clear out your mind, quiet the mind and the body, you're more apt to be able to get those messages. Now, sometimes, messages may come through and we're wondering if we're making them up. There's a reason why those particular thoughts went through your mind to begin with. So, I really highly suggest getting a set of tarot or oracle cards. They really can be quite insightful. And I want to go ahead and do a life purpose card as well. And I understand that, first, I don't know how many people are watching this episode. It will mean different things to different people, obviously. But for somebody watching this, it may be exactly what you're looking for. So this is actually the backside of the Doreen Virtue Life Purpose cards. It's a very pretty card. And sometimes it's harder to feel in to a card with a picture already on the backside like this. But if you let yourself know that, this is the backside, and what you're aiming for is feeling through, focusing your attention on the front side. And again, just take a couple of nice deep cleansing breaths so you can clear and still your mind and body. Just feel into the card. And even if you're sitting, 10 feet away, watching this on your TV screen, you can just stare from where you are, stare right into that picture. What are you feeling? What are you getting? So when I flip the card over, it's a card of family. So whatever that means to you. So down here at the bottom, it says, loving your friends and family is central to your life purpose. Now, depending on who I'm reading for, that may have different meanings for different people. But I have no doubt that somebody watching this is going to look at this and feel like that completely fits with what they're doing or what they want to be doing. So, what a beautiful card, the family card. So again, today's episode is about tarot and oracle. Just kind of giving you, again, an idea of the difference between the two. Tarot is a more structured set. Again, that's the one with the suit cards. And then we also have the oracle, which, again, typically are more themed. They're normally more lighthearted in nature. And as a little side note, too, if you're familiar with the tarot, you can also use, and I don't have it with me, but you can also use a regular plain deck of cards, like a bicycle deck, a regular deck of cards, to give readings as well. It's for me, it's been a little bit more challenging, but it's interesting to occasionally pick them up and work with them. So I would like to leave you with this. Intuition. Using tarot and oracle cards can help you build your intuition. You may be surprised at how often you really do feel into the energy of the card. And if nothing else, again, it brings you inward so you can get those divine messages that are waiting for you. So now if you would like to join our Facebook Psychic Development Group, I'll put the link at the bottom of the screen. And if you would be interested in joining us sometime for our tarot or psychic group, that is really fascinating too, because people will either work on honing their tarot skills. Sometimes we will work on missing persons cases. Others will work on psychography, which is, maybe taking a piece of jewelry. Somebody else, hands you their watch, for example, and you can feel into the history of that particular watch or a ring, or maybe it's a scarf from somebody's grandmother. And it is really interesting how much that we can pick up when we just stop long enough to feel into the energy, to be aware. Conscious awareness. It's quite, it never ceases to amaze me. So thank you so much for watching today's episode, Tarot and Oracle. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. You can email me at info@soulspirational.com. You can go to my website, soulspirational.com. And otherwise, until next time, thank you, be well, and namaste.